Oh my goodness, I'm trying. It's near the mall
In Gastonia.
in Gastonia.
Jackson's. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Jackson's Cafeteria.
Yes, Toys R Us used to be there, but it's kind of by itself now. But I think Dale is in charge. He's here, and you all have me talking about Jackson's Cafeteria. I mean, really?
Oh, I miss it.
No, I'm just listening. We got to figure out where we're going to eat when we get together. I saw Dr. Bull send out a message today congratulating the teaching award winners. You know, I sent one out last month. So I told him today we'd partner. I'd plan it and he could pay. I don't think he's going to buy into that, but we'll try it and see. But, welcome. I don't have a lot this evening. I see it's time to get started. The main thing this evening is thank you all for joining me and appreciate what you're doing for students this summer. The main thing is check your clinical shells and make sure all the students that you need access to this summer are in those shells. I think I got them all in there, but we were still hammering out roles this past week. As you know, that Orlando/Anna Brick House, I think I've lost my mind over that one. But hopefully their students are all where they're supposed to be now in your clinical shells, class shells. Remember, we don't use those internship shells because they're not built out. We use the clinical shells, and I put all the groups in there. Now, so make sure that, you know, you can get access to your students as you need to work with them this summer clinically. And then the second piece of that is, as you know, Seth left us, a couple months ago. And so I took over the task stream part. So hopefully we only have one login. And so Mitch has been doing everybody else's because we have more than everybody else combined. And so I have done our task stream for the summer. Hopefully I have you attached to whoever you need to work with, whether it be evaluation, whether it be reviewing their portfolio or coaching. I've gone in, and the way that task stream is set up is it's not as straightforward as you would think it would be. I have to go to each individual DRF. I have to move students individually by hand. About half of them had to be moved this summer. I don't know how we still had some holdover moves from the spring that didn't get made. Hopefully I've got them all in the right places now. I think I finished last Thursday morning about 2 in the morning, but I think I've got them all where they need to be. If not, you need to let me know and I'll go back in and work on that piece of it. So like the students that you're coaching this summer, when they go in and request comments on their competency folio, that you should get an email. You should be able to go in and see that. Or if a student puts work in for evaluation, you should get notified for that. You should be able to go in and look as a coach at their portfolio. I opened it up where I put you in. This is the rest of it. I put most of you in as evaluators as well. Please don't go in and evaluate unless you are the evaluator, but that's the only way I can let you go in and see what they're missing. And you know how critical that is this summer. Because sometimes they'll turn work in Blackboard, but then it won't get to task stream. And then we get to the end of the summer and we're scrambling trying to, you know, make sure they've done their dispositions, make sure they've done competency analysis, make sure they've turned in all the evidences and got them evaluated. Well, the only way that I can let you see that is to put you in as an evaluator. Reviewer status will not get you where you can see their DRF portfolio. So I put all you coaches in as evaluators as well. If you know you're not, you know, like Doug Massengill and Jackie, I've got you in as evaluators. Now, you know you aren't evaluators, but that will let you see those DRF that's the only way. Even Seth would tell you that. It's not set up like it needs to. Now, my understanding is we recommended week before last that Wendy be hired in Seth's position. I heard last week that that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen until sometime in July. They're going to save that salary and let me and Mitch work this summer Of course, we're worth what you pay us, which is nothing. Now, the downside of that is what Jeff Hamilton and I are scheming on is we would like to start a whole new process for TaskStream. We'd like to build it a new one and then move students over to it, or use this one until they're gone and start with new in the fall, where we can identify roles better, where you don't get emails that you weren't expecting or don't get emails you were expecting. We're going to try to build this thing out where it's a little more user friendly. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but we're going to try that this summer. We're going to attempt to do that. Hold one second. And so, let me turn that down. That's what we're going to attempt to do now. Whether we'll get it done or not, I don't know. We're going to have to start from scratch. We're going to have to get another whole login from TaskStream, which they'll give it to us for free. But we're going to attempt to build this thing out that's a lot more user friendly. As you know, for those of you who've been around a long time, you know that we started out with multiple evaluators, reconciliators, had different roles. Well, we've just kind of piecemealed it off of that. We're going to go in and set it up a little bit differently this time, hopefully, if we're allowed to do that, if we can get that done, and then get it built out and turn it over to Wendy, where it'll be a lot easier to manage for you folks. It's very obtuse right now, and moving students, you know, it takes forever to do everything in TaskStream, but we're going to try to build it out where it fits our program now, rather than adapt the program that was completely different in a different time. You know, we used to have individual components. We called them pump components for a while and parts for a while. If you remember, we used to evaluate each little one in TaskStream and all that stuff that we don't do any more of that stuff anymore. We're going to try to get to do a better job with TaskStream down the road, as we got a new person who's, you know, kind of understands it, but we could start with fresh with a new person. So that's what we're going to try to do. But for this summer, the only way I can get everybody access is just open up everything. So you may be getting emails to evaluate something that you know you're not supposed to evaluate. Just ignore those. And but that's the only way I can get access, because we need to stay on. You folks who are either coaching or teaching 605, you know, you got to stay on those and make sure that we don't come to the end of the summer and they don't have all their stuff in there. You know, I'm feathering my nest on that one too, because I'm splitting the licensure role with Dr. Bull as well. So we were working on licensure this afternoon. So I've gotten 2 new jobs this summer that I'd rather not have, but going forward, and what makes it doubly hard on licensure is the person in the registrar's office that handled that, along with Seth, he left when Seth did as well. So we have nobody doing transcripts and licensure, so we're having to do that this summer. We've got no TaskStream person, so we have to combine their transcript with the completer report out of TaskStream and put both of those pieces into DPI to get their license. And so what this has pointed out when Seth and Stephen left, and Stephen Sane is what a awful process. Well, it's not really what calling it a process would be kind. We've got to get this fixed. Otherwise, I mean, it takes way too much time to do this. And as you all know, it doesn't work real well for us either, for all of us, not just me as the person administrating. It doesn't work well for you. So we're going to try to do a better job on that. So make sure that your clinical shells have all your users in them, and I can fix that. I'm the one that puts those in. Make sure you have access to what you need in TaskStream. I can fix that. Make sure if you get notifications and you know it's not you, ignore that. I can't fix that. When I turn that off, it turns it off for everybody. So I have to turn it all on or turn it all off. But just know that we're working on these things. Numbers wise for the fall, they're starting to rebound some. That's good news. We met virtually with KTA for 2 hours last Wednesday. It's a good thing it was virtually, that we'd have probably come to blows otherwise. I'm not sure that they understand that, they're pinching off our doctoral programs. As you know, our master's programs are what feed our doctoral programs, up to the tune of about 70%. 70% of our doctoral candidates come out of our master's programs. And if you don't recruit the West or upstate South Carolina or the Far East and North Carolina, you kill your doctoral programs. And they're able to go to the population centers in the center, toward the center of the state, and get and meet their numbers there, but they're killing our doctoral programs. But right now, they're not working very hard, but the numbers are coming back up on their own, kind of. I don't think it has anything to do with KTA, but we're at about 120 right now. That's masters and regular, but we're down about 20, 25 regular and about 40, close to 40 on add-on. But that's better than we were 3 weeks ago when we didn't have 80 students combined. So we're up to about 120 now. So we have picked up a good many in the last 2 weeks. I'm going to be interested to see what the numbers look like this week. They'll come out tomorrow for Wednesday's meeting. We'll see what they look like. I don't know that we'll hit what we were looking at. We were looking at 140 and 40 for the fall. I don't know that we'll hit that. I'm thinking we'll be more in the 120, 30, maybe something like that, or 25 to 30, 120 on add-on and 25 to 30 on regular masters. I could be wrong. I have been probably earlier today. I was but I
were.
I was. Steve was with me earlier. I was wrong earlier today. So hopefully we won't be too down in the fall, that things will come back somewhat normal here in the next 2 weeks. But the thing that I keep reminding myself is it's early June. We're not going to close there, and Gardner Webb is playing along. We've waived the GRE MAT requirement and the application fee, and we're going to do applications on into August. We would normally cut them off, and so we're going to leave them open. So I think we have the potential to catch up. I was working on the add-on licensure for EDCI today and kind of got them cranked back up on that. I think we're going to make a cohort of those, which is always helpful. That's Steve Laws and I, but that opens up some other classes for you folks when we do those. And so I think we're going to make a cohort of those. That's moving along. We've lent our assistance to DEOL, and he's already made one and looks like he might make two. So we've had 12 former MELS students who are looking to do that doctoral program. So I say that to say this: we're all working together to try to get the rising tide lifts all boats. We're working together to try to support our doctoral programs. We're working together to support our master's program. We're doing a lot more than we've ever done before in recruitment, but we do not want to see a big drop off in students. I was talking with Dr. Bull today, and what we were talking about is we have the best group of adjuncts we've ever had by far, and that's what the data says. We can't let you go. We can't run out of students and expect you to be loyal and come back somewhere down the road. We've got to keep the momentum that we've gotten, and it's just too hard to train new people and get them up to speed and all that you got to go through to learn all this stuff, just like Jackie and Doug are our latest two that they've had to go through. I mean, there's a lot of time investment for you folks that you don't get compensated for learning all this stuff, and so we got to keep things rolling. We've really got some quality people that have been with us a long time and some short time. but you know, we dominated the rankings on the best teachers at the university, the happiest students, the best retention, the highest net promoter score. Our graduates dominated DPI rankings of performance in their job. We made #1 for the first time ever. We can't go back now. We can't just say, well, we'll just wait and see what KTA does. No, we got to get out and work, and we're doing that. We're doing our best, and I say that to kind of summarize today's rant. If you know people, if you got contacts, if you send them to me, I'll get them in the process. But as always, charity starts at home. If you know some people, if you got some contacts, if you got students, or if you know of things, now would be a good time because of the waiver of the testing and the fees. We can all help with the recruiting and talking with people in districts if we know. If we know folks in districts, of course we all do, we can do a little recruiting on our own, and that would be helpful, especially in the far west, the far east, or in upstate South Carolina. We need to do some work there, and I pointed that out to KTA again last week, that they can't just ignore those areas. All right, so I think that's all I have. I'm going to open it up for questions now.
Dale, I got a question. This is Rod. I had a CC1 student contact me late this afternoon. Her school is not opening back until July, and she wanted to know, was there any suggestions or recommendations for her that she could possibly do to start getting her clinical hours?
Rob, that's a great question. We put out some lists, but if schools aren't doing anything, tell them to remember they can count all the hours they work on their evidences this summer, and all the hours that they do, like Zoom groups or case studies. When they're online collaborating in their class, that's clinical. When they're working on their evidences, that's clinical. They can get almost enough hours in the summer because there's so much of that. They can almost get the hours they need in the summer just from case study Zooms where they're doing together, peer reviews, Zooms, or just the actual process of peer reviewing. Even if they don't do a Zoom, they can get hours from that. All the time they spend working on their evidences, or especially if they're doing, if they've got a PLC that they're working with virtually, all evidence work, all case studies, all peer reviewing of any kind, all of that can count for hours. And they can get just about all their hours this summer from doing those things.
Okay, because I know the list we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Was a lot they were working on with these students that were at home.
But this summer,
okay.
DPI won't hold my feet to the fire over clinicals this summer. They just do that spring and fall. We had to have a plan this spring. That's what all that was about. I had to file that report with DPI as to what we were doing to make sure that they met their clinicals this spring. Now, they don't care. They don't count summer. DPI don't count summer.
Okay.
We do, but they don't. So I didn't have to file anything for summer about what we were going to do. And so we're golden on that. They can just, what they do in their classes will get them through on evidence work, clinical work this summer. Now we can't, fall, we're back to the normal, back to the fall. They've got to do some clinical hours.
Right. Okay, thank you.
That's a great question. I'm glad you reminded me of that. That's a great question. So, yes, those things can count. But that reminds me as well, I did not opt for us, and Dr. Bull agreed, I did not opt for us this coming year to be involved in that scholarship program where DPI is going to award some scholarships for full-time interns. That's just too big a risk right now with COVID, about those people, the budget's being cut. You step out of line, you go into that, and your teaching job gets either eliminated or they hire somebody else. There's no guarantee on going back to the teaching job. There's no guarantee of administrative positions because those are going to be cut, as we all know. Until things settle down from COVID and we get back to whatever the new normal is, I don't really want us to be involved in that. that full-time intern deal where they have to give up their teaching job. You know, that's not something that I want us to get into right now. I would like for us to look at it down the road, but not right now. I feel an obligation to those people to not lead them astray. There's too many things that are unknown right now about what's going to happen to teaching positions, administrative positions, how districts are going to make up their budgets. You know, those kinds of things. I have a sneaking suspicion, unless you're in a high need area, if you step out, they'll just assume your job. It'll be gone, your teaching job. Those will be the first that go. That'll be the easiest way to cut the budget. And then if they cut your job and there's not an administrative job at the end of that year internship, you're just out. I think that there'd be tremendous blowback on that. So Dr. Bull and I talked about it at length, and he agrees that we got to set this one out this round. We could really hurt ourselves PR wise on that deal. So we're going to take a pass this year. So somebody asked, you know, about the full-time internship scholarship. I did turn the paperwork in. We have been approved. We're just not going to take any in the fall. We're not going to do that for the fall. All right. Anybody else have anything else? We've done well. We've come in under our 30-minute deadline. Appreciate all you do for me and all you do for our students. Classes are going well. I know it's busy. It's going to be it's always a run up to the deadline with those 605s. So if you can't get in task stream and see what you need to see, let me know, and I'll get you in. I think I got everybody where they need to be. Let's make sure we evaluate those things quickly and keep them moving. Got to keep the line moving this summer. All right, nothing else. I appreciate it. I'll see you again. Have a good week. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.